Lopsided, you are in chat, so I can just talk to you directly, yeah. Felt that Cos wasn't a good swarm key, also didn't take off when tireless. That's cool, I think it's good practice, so we can talk about some swarm stuff when we get into it. So before the key starts, yeah, you can start spreading swarms, that's good. But yeah, you lose. The thing is as well, at the beginning of the key, there's also RP. Yeah, so I really don't like swarming this dungeon. This group comp is not the best for you in terms of damage. You have PI, but it's probably not going to go to you. You don't have warrior or monk though, so expect to do lower damage than normal. Right, I'm going to take some time just to get used to the UI, and we can kind of just play through. So, okay. So the main things I'm going to focus on during this dungeon are positional, like your positioning, your defensive use, and then generally your rotation on various target mounts. In fact, Lopsided, is there anything else that you specifically want me to cover? Are you happy with those three things? A quick little thing whilst Lopsided is probably typing. So, you know that you're going to go to this next pack here. You kind of position, you move away from the mobs, and then you eventually run into the ground mechanic. So that's a time where, on a high level key, you are dead. Right there. Done. Also, you were then not positioned, ready to get to the next pack of mobs quicker. So like little things like that, just pre-positioning, you know your tank is going to chain onto those next three mobs. So just a little bit better positioning with that kind of stuff. And then avoiding ground swells is really good. I think your camera is maybe a little bit like too far down. I would maybe go, I don't know about for me, I go a little bit more up, but that I find helps me with that kind of stuff, but whatever you find helps you. Protected pack isn't worth pick. If you feel it is, then it is. It is purely situational in the class tree, but I personally don't see a lot of value in it. Nice soothing, that's good. So what I want to see you, when mobs are dying, I want to see you generating 5 combo points and blood talons. Yep, and Tiger Fury rolling. Okay, you don't have it rolling, but that's fine. You have it for the play here. You haven't used... Have you not used Incarn yet? I want to go back. So you've not sent Incarn. So let's look at when you could have first used Incarn. About 250... About 255. Let's call it 255. I know these mobs are a bit shitty. I just want to get to where the first Incarn is. I just want to get my bearings with how you're playing. Okay, that was it. So, 255 was when... Hold on. Was when you could have potentially popped it. Oops. Okay, so you popped it at about 230... 240, give or take, yeah? And I said 255. So about a minute 50, if my math is correct. Yeah, minute 50. So you could have gotten a whole extra Incarn. Nearly. Like, your Incarn would just be coming up. So, you've already, in this dungeon, you've been in the dungeon for, yeah, like 3 minutes. You've already missed one potential Incarn. I know in this dungeon, it's kind of sucky on when to use Incarn, but just something to kind of keep aware of. If on a 15, and especially Tyrannical, just send it. Honestly, just send it on cooldown. DQ, I love you so much. I'm doing some coaching right now. I actually wanted a coffee as well, not a tea. What a little angel. What an unemployed angel. No, Lopsided, you're going to do great, trust me. So far, I like your blood talent generation and stuff like that, and we can get into the meat section of that as well. So in general, just using your Incarn on cooldown is the play. Generally speaking, in this dungeon, there's no real good point to use it, apart from, say, bosses. But, like, you know that the boss is not going to come for the first 6 minutes of the dungeon, so that's 3 Incarns. So just send them, right? Because obviously Incarn is not a 3-minute cooldown, it gets reduced to be below 2 minutes. So it's like 3 Incarns. If you just hold it up until the boss, you lose 3 Incarns or 2 Incarns or whatever, and it just, like, you might deplete by a minute, or you might just time it by 10 seconds or something. And that's where that value comes in. You know? Because, yeah, exactly. So, because then as well, what you can do, you know, like, you can chain through this dungeon. So you know that you can pop Incarn on, say, like, this mob or whatever. Like, even if you don't do it on the first 3 mobs, because I often don't do it on these mobs. I'll do it on the next pack. It depends on the key level and how long we'll be here and if it's fought tyrannical. But you can pop on this mob right here. So you've only delayed it by about 20 seconds, which isn't too bad. And then you get a good meaty use of Incarn on here. And then, because you want the mob to live a decent amount of time for your Frenzy Band to actually take effect. And then you can chain it onto the next mob, and you can kind of keep that party going. Because you know your tank's pulling quite quick. Akuma, I don't know if they're like a friend or something pre-made. But they're pulling quite quick. So clearly, like, they're just going to keep going. So just send the Incarn. Apart from that, good to kind of like pre-generate Blood Talons and stuff. Tiger Fury usage looks good. Are you using Raging Fury? You are, aren't you? Go into this one. Adaptive Swarms look decent right now. Okay, so in this situation, let's talk about Adaptive a little bit. In this situation, you got Adaptive coming up. It's off cooldown now. You got 4 stacks on this single target mob. You got 2 stacks here that are about 4 seconds left. About 4 seconds left on their timer. So, for anyone who doesn't know, each stack of Adaptive takes 9 seconds to tick off if you have Circle. So you got about 4 seconds left on these. These are both at 2 stacks. If they do split, then one will guaranteed jump to the boss. Oh, no, sorry, they don't even need to split. They will guaranteed jump to the boss, to the mob. Each of them. So you don't want to reapply to the mob. It already has 4 stacks on it. What you'd want to do, what I personally would do, is apply to one of my allies that has 2 stacks. So that then goes up to 5, rather than having 2, 2, 3, because the 2s will drop to 1s and those won't split, and the 3 will jump to a 2, and then that will split once, right? So you have like 1 potential split. So what I would do is I would not use on this single target mob, because it's already at 4. This is going to drop off and jump to allies, and then you have 2 stacks of 2. I would use Adaptive on one of these 2 stacks, take it up to 5. When that then ticks off, it can split into 4. Those 4s can then split into 2 3s. Those 3s can then split into 2 2s each. Yada, yada, yada. Plus, you know that the next mob pack coming up in about 20 seconds is going to be the big AoE. So if you can have a bunch of swarms rolling, then when you jump into that, they're all going to spread nicely. And you know that this one's going to jump to allies as well. So the crux of it is, for anyone who hasn't seen my Adaptive Swarm video, when you're on a single target mob and you have unhealthy colony, you want to use Adaptive Swarm on the mob. When you have a healthy colony, you want to use Adaptive Swarm on your allies. And that's on single target. But you have a healthy one on the mob, so you can use it on your allies. But it's already starting to learn it. That's cool. That's chill. That's chill, that's chill. That's why we're talking about it. That's what we're here for. So there we go. I actually want to see where these jump. And then go from there. So that swarm jumps from the boss mob to Akuma. And another stack jumps from... Wait, who did you use Swarm on? Man, Swarm is so fun. Okay, who do you use Swarm on? See, okay, so this is actually a misplay right here. So if you'd 4 seconds ago used Swarm, I think you were safe. You were fine. You get Swarm on cooldown. But using it at this exact second is a big misplay. Because these Swarms are about to jump, which isn't too impactful because you know that they're going to, at most, make a 4 stack. So that's not too impactful. But the 4 stack from the Guardian is about to jump and form a 3 stack. And you might 3 stack somebody, and then the enemy mob jumps to that same target and you lose the whole stack. So you actually would want to wait until the swarms jump and then you'd look to use your adaptive. So you use your adaptive, it looks like on Akuma, right? And then 1 stack jumps to the priest, and then one of those 2 stacks jumps to Akuma again. And then I don't know how you actually got 5 stacks. Oh no, you did. Did you do a 5 stack on the? You did 3 stack on the mob. But then how did you get a 2 stack? Did both? Yeah, both jump to the enemy. So you put a 3 stack on the enemy. Both of those 2 stacks both jump to the mob. So it's a perfect 5 stack actually. So that's nice. Then the 4 stack jumped to Akuma, and it split. So the 4 stack jumped to Akuma and gave 3 stacks to him and 3 stacks to the priest. But how does Akuma get a 4 stack? Because the 2 stack splits, right? Okay, so you overcapped on the... Yeah, so the 2-stack splits. One goes to Akuma, one stays on this guy. So the Ore Shift jumps there. This one jumps there. The boss one splits and both jump there. And then you use on here and 2 this. So that's actually really good. That's actually a really good use, actually. It worked out well. It worked out probably one of the best ways it could have worked out. Because now you have a healthy 4-stack, you have a healthy 3-stack, and a 5-stack. And you only, I think, overcapped on this mob by 1 stack, if at all. So I think that's pretty good. Seems overcomplicated? No, it's not overcomplicated. I am currently overcomplicating it just to talk about Swarm usage, and we can take a moment to track where everything is going, right? But in the grand scheme, all you needed to do with this adaptive Swarm that was upcoming was either use it on one of the 2 stacks, which would have made it a 5-stack, or waited until all of them kind of split, and then use your adaptive Swarm. That's all you have to do. And then I was just talking about being able to predict where swarms are going to move depending on target count and stuff like that. So going into this pool, you've got 1 point of Blood Talons, you've got 4 combo points, you have Tiger Fury not active, but you have it available, and you have Incarn available. So again, yeah, so we already know that you wasted 1 Incarn in this dungeon, but that's okay. You go into this pool now. So what I want to see from you is a Rake on this mob, and then perfect, and then an immediate shuffle round, and then Primal Wrath. See, so... Okay, so you've overcapped a little bit. Okay, cool. So let's look at this. So this is part positional, this is part and like movement, and then part AoE overcap that we can talk about here. So you're already at 4 combat points. When you stealth rake this mob to stun it, you're gonna be at 5 combat points. So your next action, you want to use a finisher. Obviously, the primary finisher you want to use is Primal Wrath, and you want to try and hit all of these mobs. These worms, it's a 15 tyrannical. They're not going to hurt you. Don't worry about it. Your tank's going to get immediate... It's a vengeance demon on it. They're going to get immediate aggro. You're going to be fine. So what I would do here is I would rake this mob, and I would immediately run to these mobs here, and I'd position myself about there. The mobs are going to move to you. You're going to move to them. You can then Primal Wrath, and you're going to hit everything very comfortably. Because you then... But what you do, because I know in your head you're waiting for everything to come to you because of tank aggro. Don't sweat it in this specific position. You overcap on combo points, and you don't even really hit everything. So, Brutal Slash is quite important. Brutal Slash does increased damage when targets already have bleeds on them. Yeah? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Only if you're playing Merciless Claws. Okay, yeah. So, Brutal Slash doing increased damage. 10% increased damage to enemies that are bleeding. That if you're going to play that talent, then you need to make sure you're using it, right? So, you want to... If you were going to do this, like, Primal Wrath counts as a bleed, right? So, you rake this guy. You don't position closer to hit these mobs. You then Brutal Slash here, which hits, I think, like, a couple of these. You hit 3 mobs, I think, somehow. I think you only hit those. Or maybe that's healing aggro. I don't think you even hit those. So, I think you just hit these 2 mobs with a Brutal Slash. This mob doesn't even have a bleed on him. Only this mob. So, you're losing damage from there. And then you're down to 2 charges of Brutal Slash, which isn't too bad because these mobs are going to die quickly. But if this is a high-level key, it would matter. You also overcap by potentially 4 combo points. Yeah, you overcap by 4 combo points. So you're already halfway to another... Well, you know, not even halfway. You're 80% there to another finisher. So, with the thing with Feral, especially in this key level, the reason that I'm going into depth with this is because this right here, I don't need to see the rest of the key. It's these things that matter. This is where you're going to lose the majority of your damage, in my opinion, especially at this key level, because you have, actually, yeah, you have a very bursty spec in your group. Well, 2. But Devastation is very bursty. So, you need to, and you know these mobs are going to die quickly, so you need to get the burst in before they can, and the way you do that is by, like, better positioning and... Yeah, like I say, getting that Primal Wrath off early. That Primal Wrath, that first one, needs to be off as early as possible. Because in order to maximize your damage, you need 2 Primal Wraths and a Ferocious Bite. And then your damage starts ramping. So you need to get those Primal Wraths as early as possible so you get the toe damage, you get the Apex procs, yada yada yada. It all comes from that first step. So Rake, Primal Wrath, Thrash, then you start Brutal Slashing. Or Rake, Primal Wrath, Brutal Slash once so it gets on cooldown. Then you Thrash, then you can stop Brutal Slashing. And then here I wouldn't worry too much about Rake spreading, you're just generating Blood Talons. But let's see what you do. So you Thrash, then you Primal Wrath, cool. Then you Brutal Slash. Then you Shred, okay? You still have 1 Blood Talons left, so Shred here is actually the worst possible ability you can use. And the reason for it is it's your worst possible damaging ability in this scenario because it only ever hits 1 target. It's not going to hit max targets. It's the lowest combo point generating ability because you're not in your Incarn window. If you're in your Incarn window, it's a little bit different because you'd be guaranteed 3 combo points, so you'd be alright. I'm 100% on that, aren't I, this time? Yeah, 1 additional combo point when it crits. So, maybe if you're in Incarn window, we could maybe dabble with that and say maybe it was worth it. But you still have Blood Talons. This is the worst possible ability because Rake, it will hit 2 targets, which means you have 2 chances of critting. Thrash and Brutal Slash both are uncapped, so you're guaranteed a crit. Shred is the lowest possible chance of critting, and your crit chance is like 40%. So you got like a 40% chance to crit with that Shred. So it's low combat. In fact, do you actually... I want to see here if you actually get the... So you get 2 combat points. I think you actually do crit. Wait, Brutal Slash for 2. Then you Shred. Gamer. Okay, so not as bad as it could have been. But the point being, that Shred damage is still the lowest emphasis thing. I would have preferred, even if you did another Brutal Slash here, would have been better. Because you still have Blood Talons rolling. And then you... So you Brutal, Shred, Thrash. Cool, you're at 5 combo points. Primal Wrath again. Where was your Primal Wrath at? Before you Primaled. So 7 seconds. 6 seconds. 5. Should be now. 4. Are we going to get it? Perfect. Okay, so as long as you have 4 seconds or more on your Primal Wrath, the second Primal Wrath application, you're good. You lose 25% value on toe for every 1 second below 4 seconds that your Primal Wrath rips are ticking on mobs. So toe damage is based on how many seconds are remaining of your rip, because what it does is it consumes... And this answers a question in chat. Somebody said, why do you need 2 Primal Wraths? Because the first Primal Wrath doesn't consume any of your rip. So it doesn't actually happen. If I show you this right here on a dummy. So if I show you my initial Primal Wrath. Right? Primal Wrath there. No toe damage. However, now we get toe damage. Because of my second Primal Wrath, right? So the way toe works is it consumes your currently active rip, then reapplies a completely new one on top of it. So you need 4 seconds remaining so you get maximum toe value. So you were in that 4-second window there, so you're good. That's good at least, and we're happy with that. And yeah, Lopsided, I have a real problem of hitting Shred. I'm trying to unlearn that. That's cool. As long as you are understanding where the issues are that you're making, then that's where you can train yourself to, you know, like get better with that. Just want to quickly check if there are other questions. Sorry for repeating. Does Adaptive Swarm work dynamically? Yeah. So if you... Yeah, it's dynamic. It's not a snapshot, which means you can apply Adaptive Swarm post bleeds, which is ideally what you want to be doing. Cool. So that's cool. What else do you do in this? So then you get an Apex Bite. Primal Wrath, Brutal, Shred, Thrash, Primal. Where's my face on your screen? Shouldn't my face be on your screen? Yeah, you get an Apex proc, you send that, perfect. So there's your, now you have Sabretooth. It is, see how vital it is that your first action in a group is Primal Wrath? Because it's only at this point, so it's at this moment right now that you've got your toe value. And the mobs are already half dead. And if you really want to, you know, really shine in Mythic Plus, this shit matters because you need to show everyone in your group how much of a gamer you are. So this shit matters. TOW, Tear Open Wound. But in order to maximize this, you still have to get a bite in here. So it's not until this point that you're now at maximum damage. Well, just barely half a second ago, I think. No, because that's your... Is that your tier set, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, because Sabretooth doesn't... Does it actually proc up on your screen? I don't know. I don't know. Does it proc up? Yeah, it does. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you just barely got it just now, just from the bite, and the mobs are about to die. So that's how long you need in a pull to get maximum value from your AoE. Is that right there? Saying you shouldn't Primal Wrath if they have more than 4 seconds left? No, I'm just saying you want to make sure you Primal Wrath before they only have 4 seconds left. You can definitely Primal Wrath before 4 seconds, that's fine. But you want to obviously make time for your Rip and Tear value to come in as well. So in large AoE. So you want to make sure you're biting as well when you can. But as long as there's like 4 seconds remaining, then you're cool. Confuse it with dynamic and snapshotting distinction, playing Wrath and now retail as well. It's just hard to get the muscle memory right. Yeah, absolutely. It's also like you don't always know what snaps what and what's dynamic and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's all good. Yeah, any questions, feel free to ask, you know. Cool. So apart from that, I mean, the rest of the play is cool. I mean, see, the thing as well, though, is that then you wait until all these mobs are dead. And now you press your Incarn. You press your Incarn right now at this moment. And also, I think you play a little bit too scared. I think you play a little bit too afraid. So, okay, you pull these mobs here. Somebody pulls them. But none of them are targeting you. Wait, actually, no, they are. Okay, I'm just getting used to your player frames. Maybe they are targeting you. So, that guy comes and hits you. Gives you a little donk. Then I think you stand in AoE, actually. I think that's an AoE damage hit. I don't think you get hit again. This is just important, because I'm looking at your movement, and I want to try and optimize your damage by having better movement. Yeah, so you move into an AoE swirl, and then that explodes. So you go to half health, and then you get healed up and you run away. Yeah, so that was an explosion from the little worms dying. But this is where, and I understand actually you can panic in the moment, that's fine. I think that's reasonable. Like you butt pull a pack of mobs, it's fine. No need to worry. But if you already had Incarn rolling, you can just re-stealth, and then you completely drop aggro, and then you only need to drop aggro for half a second, and your tank will pick it up, and then or somebody else will pick it up, and then you can start AoEing again. So, look, I think you even panic because you press your V key, don't you? And then you go again. So that's fine, that's cool. But then you like run away way over here, and now you're like not doing any damage, and you're just like losing uptime. Like you're like way far away. So you Shadow Meld said perfect. That's great. That's fine. That's awesome. But you just like you're losing uptime in this scenario because you're like running away, like you're getting hit from this mechanic because I don't know if you're just like not comfortable or you like panic because of the thing, and then you're losing uptime. And it's these little things that are going to be the difference between your damage being okay and your damage being really good. So in that situation, what I would have done if I'd body pulled that pack, if I'd body pulled, stealth, immediate, Shadow Meld, done. Then I would avoid this shit on the ground. So I'd actually, in this position, you've got Storming on your right. This is actually a really hard position, but it's good. Trial by fire. So you got Storming on your right here. You got Ground Swells in front of you. You got stairs blocking you off, and then you got mobs literally running at you right now. So this is where you kind of just, when in doubt, this is when you survival instincts, because you don't need survival instincts now. For the actually, you don't need survival instincts now until the next dungeon that you do. Like, you actually just don't need this button in this key. So use it right here. This is a perfect use. Use it and run through this shit and stand right here where your tank is. Because these mobs, you're going to run them through to your tank, and then you're just healthy. And then if these explosions go off, you don't care because you're in your wall and it's whatever. And it just gives you a second to just relax. Because you know the next pack of mobs is going to be a 3-pack that doesn't do anything. It's then going to be another 3-pack that doesn't do anything. It's then going to be boss. It's then going to be a 1 mob that doesn't do anything. Like, after this moment right now, and this is where knowing the rest of the key is really helpful to panic moments. Because if you're in a panic moment, but you already know the rest of the dungeon, like for me, my brain just like jumps to the next few things. It goes wall now, and then I know I'm fine because nothing else matters. Whereas sometimes you can be in dangerous situations and you can go, no, no matter what happens, I need to hold on to my defensive because I need it for this boss or this mechanic that's gonna come through, and I need it there because my death there would be way worse. So this is where comfortability in the key really helps. Do they just update then? Yeah, so for as long... So Hub is out. I assume that's about Adaptive Swarm. If you have bleeds active, and then your swarm jumps onto them, the moment that swarm hits them, your bleeds are now doing 25% more damage. And then when swarm jumps off, they no longer are doing 25% increased damage. It doesn't matter what point they're at. It's dynamic. It's not a snapshot. The only snapshots that exist are... Yeah, so Tiger Fury snapshots all of your dots, all your periodic effects, and then yeah, Rip is snapped from your Tiger Fury and your Blood Talons, and then that's it. Does Tiger Fury alter trinket damage? No. Questioning concerning Omen of Clarity and AoE. However, Thundering and stuff does increase your trinket damage, as far as I know. Feel bad to use the proc on Brutal Slash. I have the bad habit to use Thrash since it's a high energy cost spell, but sometimes I do it instinctively, even if there's like a 10 second left on the dot. I guess it's better to use Shred. No. Thrash or Brutal Slash is fine. Thrash is better than Shred and AoE. So if you use your MOC proc on Thrash or Brutal Slash, you're chilling. You're vibing. Don't worry about it. If you're at high energy situations, then it's better to Brutal Slash with your MSC proc, because you get the extra 15% damage, which is more meaningful on Brutal Slash.
Yo, what's up,
don't worry about it. Yo, what's good, Chunks? Thank you for the 5 months, dude. Appreciate it. Yeah, go Whetstone. Oh, for single target, I don't know. You'd have to sim it or something and check Blood Mallet. Cool. So Lopsided, are you happy so far with the kind of things I've been kind of talking about here? We haven't even, like, the thing is, a lot of this stuff is probably going to be repetitive stuff you do later in the key, so I don't need to watch the whole dungeon. As long as I can kind of see just examples of what you're doing and talk about stuff, then I'm happy with that. But yeah. So, always, when a pack is about to die, so this god is very low health, what I do in this situation, I don't care what state my bleeds are at. I do not give a shit. This fight is over. We're on one mob. It's got 20% health. We do not care. You Rake, Thrash, Shred. Do not Brutal Slash because you want those charges for the next pull. So Rake, Thrash, Shred, and then just Shred until 5 combo points. Because, or Thrash, doesn't matter, like whatever. Because you just want 5 combo points. You want Tiger Fury already active. You want a Tiger Fury ready. And then you want 5 combo points. 5 common points, Blood Talons, Tiger Fury ready to go. So what I would do right now is I would Tiger Fury, I would Rake, Thrash, Shred, you then have Blood Talons, you're ready to go on the next pack. Because remember what I said about the speed? The speed in which you're wanting to get Primal Wrath immediately on those mobs. That is the most important thing to get the rest of your damage ticking. Because the rest of the stuff is delayed. So what do you do instead? Yeah, I can really see why people record themselves and watch it back now. It's very helpful. I'm going to review some of my own gameplay in a little bit, and we're going to be able to discuss what I do well or wrong. But I like the things that you've been doing in terms of, like... I mean, when did you pop your wall, actually? I want to see that. I think you Incarn there, and then do you wall here? You get jumped on? Okay, you've got a dot on you, taking some damage. That's I don't mind that wall. I don't mind that wall. You know, in the heat of the moment, you're a little bit threatened. I don't mind that wall. You have the thing jump to you. But after that, there wasn't really any incoming damage, so you didn't need to. But it's okay that you did. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. You Incarn there. You lose how much time? So far in this dungeon, you lost 1 Incarn, and then how much of this? You lose 10 seconds of your Incarn here as well. So the thing about Incarn is you want to get value on it where it takes 30 seconds for the ability to finish. But then you have a further 8 seconds where your bleeds are still ticking from Frenzy, right? So you need about 38 seconds for Incarn to get maximum value. In this level of dungeon, you could maybe even go Convoke this week. Potentially. If things are dying this quickly. But it is a core, it's a bit of a finicky one, it's a bit of a frustrating one. Okay, little tip here, Blood Talent Generation. So what do? So you're at 4 common points, you sue the mob, that's cool. Okay, we'll go one thing at a time, but when you're on a single mob like this, don't worry about soothing. If your tank dies to this mob in raging, then they've turned their back to him or something. Like, do not worry about it. Don't soothe here. It's fine. It's not going to do anything. The only mobs you need to soothe are, like, specific mobs in dungeons that are very, very nasty because they're, like, shooting spells at, like, specific people in your group. This mob is not going to do anything, so don't worry about it. But it's cool that you're doing it. It's cool that you are soothing in general. That's good to see. That's good to see because a lot of people just forget their utility completely. Right, so you got 1 Blood Talons. You have 5 combat points. Oh yeah, because you're in Incarn. So you Primal Wrath, and then you Shred, and then you Bite, and then you Thrash, and then you Soothe, and then you Shred, and then you Bite. If you use Brutal Slash right now, you will have Blood Talons and 2 combo points. And then when you go into the next pack, you can Rake, Thrash, Primal Wrath, which saves you a global or 2. So what you can actually do, a tip to Blood Talons generation, is when you're leaving combat, make sure that your last ability on the mob, if you don't already have Blood Talons, is either a Shred or a Rake. Because if I show you right now, so if I hit a mob with Shred, and then I come over here and I Thrash, and then I Brutal Slash, I get Blood Talons. Even though these abilities have not made contact with an enemy, that doesn't matter. Blood Talons is 3 different abilities in 4 seconds. That's the only criteria. So, Shred, Thrash, Brutal Slash, get a little Blood Talons. So even if in combat you don't generate Blood Talons before the end of the pull, you can still do it post-pull. Which is a really nice way to, yeah, like a nice little tip. Nice little tip. And I always preference, like, the way I want to generate Blood Talons just before a mob's about to die is Rake, Shred, and then Thrash. And then that way, even if the mob dies, I can Thrash out of combat, and my Blood Talons charges are there, ready for the next pack. Yeah? We can get 5 common points with Rake, Thrash. Well, this, in Incarn, you can't get 5 common points with Rake, Thrash. If both crit, then you have 4 common points. Stat ratio, crit mastery. Mastery is equal to haste, and then just sim. Do you use Tiger Fury and 5 common points? Blood Talons before opening on new pack? Are you asking me, or are you asking the... This isn't me, by the way. I'm reviewing Lopsided. So, did you use Tiger Fury on 5 combo points, Blood Talons before opening on new pack? That's what I do, yeah. Always, yeah. So now you're at 2 combo points. You have no Blood Talons. This is not the... Like, this is not how you want to start a pack, right? But that's okay. We go in... So look how much longer it takes you to get into the thick of things now. So you Rake, Thrash. Now you're going to overcap on combo points as well. Ah, you Primal Wrath and then Brutal Slash, yeah? Ah, Rake again. Okay, this is cool. This is a learning moment. So if you're in this situation, what you can do is you can like Rake, Thrash, Primal Wrath. Because you just want to get Primal Wrath going. So don't worry about the Blood Talons thing. You Rake, Thrash, Primal Wrath. And then you can Brutal Slash, which will be your 3rd generator. And then you can even do more Brutal Slashes if you want, up to 5 combo points. Or you can squeeze in 1 Rake. I'd probably do that. And then Brutal Slash up to 5. And then Primal Wrath again. And then you hit your first toe. So your damage is going to come out quicker. Whereas you do a Rake, Thrash, Primal Wrath, and then you Rake again. Which is still fine, because if you Brutal Slash now, you'll get your Blood Talons, which you do. That's fine. And then you Thrash... You're not at 5 common points, and then you Brutal Slash. Cool. And then you can... See, so I wouldn't Bite here. Your Primal Wrath is at 3 seconds, which means you're going to lose toe value. So I wouldn't Bite here. I would Primal Wrath. And then I would re-Rake. So you Thrash, then re-Rake, then Brutal Slash. Cool, you get your Blood Talons. Yep. You're using your Tiger Fury as soon as they're coming available. That's great. Your Adaptive Swarm. Okay, so this is a misplay on an Adaptive Swarm. This is a very bad swarm use, but it's a really good learning moment, and it's something that I do a lot Lopsided. So, and hopefully, by the way, don't take any criticism as me, like, being mean or anything. It's just, it's good when we're seeing mistakes, because then we can improve, right? So you have, I think, a 4-stack, a 4-stack, a 3-stack. Is that really true? Yeah, that goes to a 3. No, that's about 3, 3, 5. Okay. And that's a 3. Okay, so you do actually have really healthy swarms, which is good. But what's going to happen with this mob is you use this adaptive swarm now, and that 3 stack is then gonna... Like, this mob is already dead. Like, how long does it take to die from that moment? About 4 seconds? About, like, 4 seconds or so? So you're getting about 50% the value of that one adaptive swarm, but then that's going to jump off, and at best it's going to split into 2 stacks of 2. So you're just, like, losing your stacks. What I would do instead is I would have held, allow these to kind of tick off and reshuffle, because these are all getting low, and then this is where I would reapply, and you have a 3 stack, a 3, a 5, 5, and a 3. So you can just apply to a 3 stack here. And it's better because you've just lost one whole adaptive swarm stack, and you want to try and get as many 5 stacks as possible, because if you can have a 3 stack, at best it's going to go from 3. Let's assume you have a 100% split chance. From a 3 stack, it's going to go to 2 stacks of 2, and then those 2 stacks of 2 will go to 2 stacks of 1 each. But then those will disappear. When you're at 1 stack, it's gone. It's not going to split again. Whereas if you're at a 5 stack, you have then the split to 4, and then those 4s can then split to 3, and then each of those 3s can then split to 2 stacks of 2, and then each of those 2s can then split to 2 stacks of 1. So that's assuming 100% split chance, right? But it's you get way more value. You get a way bigger spread, and it can, even these little 1 stacks jumping around, they're gonna refresh the stacks that you have rolling on everything else. So it's better to, like, hold off on those adaptives if a mob is about to die. If a mob's about to die, forget it. Go next and save it for the next one. It's gonna be on YouTube. Yeah, these will be on YouTube. That's the plan. Okay, so let's look at how we start this pack. So we have Tiger Fury, we have 1 Blood Talons, it's fine. As long as we have 1, that's good. We got 3 common points, this is perfect. This is great, because you don't need 5 common points. Rake is going to get you up to 5 anyway, so you're fine. Okay, we didn't crit, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But you can Rake Thrash, Brutal Slash, Primal Wrath, sorry. Then you can Brutal Slash and a Rake. Brutal Slash, yep, perfect. Same as we get it. We get an Apex proc, cool. You move out of the frontal, that's good. Yes, this is decent so far. I think your Primal Wrath up time, what, 1, 2, 3, 5. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think one thing that you can improve on, Lopsided, is maybe just look at getting these Primal Wraths up and running a little bit quicker. I need to look at your common point generation. But you need that Primal Wrath, that second Primal Wrath, to hit as soon as possible. So you do a 1 common point generator. Okay, you get very unlucky with crits. So that took 4 generators for 1 finisher. So you get unlucky. Your Primal Wrath is low. Wait, why is it so low? 8 seconds. So you don't crit anything. You use an Apex Bite, that's why. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of, like, pure min-max, I mean, you don't know that you're not going to crit here, but even if you did crit everything, you still would have hit under the 4-second window of that Primal Wrath. So what I would do in that situation is actually hold the Apex proc, because the toe value is more important, and then when you have a healthy Primal Wrath, then you can use that Apex proc immediately, and then you get max Sabertooth value on that Primal Wrath, which is great. So you're on 3 mobs. The chances of you getting Apex procs consistently is quite low. You get 4% chance per rip tick. So it's still kind of low. So if I were you, I would have not used the Apex proc. I would get the Primal Wrath, the second Primal Wrath rolling, and then Apex proc, and it's a nice, you know, second Primal Wrath comes in, and then you immediately get your Sabertooth proc. Beautiful. Yeah, 40% crit, 40% crit. So that's cool. You get unlucky, though, not critting there. It's a bit unlucky. Right, so remember, so we're at the first boss now, and I know this is, you know, going on a bit, but we don't need to see the whole key. That's fine. So your Incarn now is 46 seconds away from being available. You're 6 minutes into the key. You could have used your first Incarn at here, 2:54. Let's call it 3 minutes. So you had 3 minutes from then until you target the boss. So you could have gotten 2 Incarns. Yeah, this is over 6 minutes. 6:11, and then you got to go do all the stuff. Oh, you're even going to do an extra trash pack. Okay. You might actually have Incarn back up in time. You might actually be okay. Okay, yeah. So this is the thing. This is as well why you kind of want to send cooldowns as often as possible, because you don't always know. Like, you might know a tank route, but then you might get a ninja pull, or you might get a extra thing that happens, or you have a wipe somewhere or whatever, and you've not accounted for these things, because how can you? And then you end up getting an extra cooldown set. The amount of dungeons I get extra cooldown usages just because people fuck up, like, just as a collective, is huge. So send cooldowns as much as you can. Luckily, you have Incarn here for the pull, but you did lose maybe one, maybe two Incarns in this dungeon so far. Let's call it one. Let's call it one. But you go here. In between combat, what you can be doing is using your adaptive swarms still. You're kind of just letting your colony die off. Like, when was the last time you used adaptive? So you use adaptive here, and then you don't use it again. 30. So you lose one whole adaptive, which is 3 stacks, which can help prolong your colony, and your whole colony just dies. If you're going to play adaptive swarming keys, this is your main focus outside of combat. Is just keeping these swarms as healthy as possible. So your swarm colony kind of dies off a bit, but that's okay. Yeah, no, it's looking alright. It's looking alright. You got some on the enemies. That's good. That's good. But you lose like 1. Murik, thank you for the tier 1. I appreciate that. Thank you. So you do another pack of... Okay, so again, you're holding Incarn here. I mean, how long are you holding Incarn? Hold on. I mean, in your defense, you probably didn't think that this was going to happen. So 647 is when you had Incarn up. When do you pull the boss? 8 minutes. So 640. So there's about 1 minute and 15 seconds, which let's say is about a third of a Incarn. I think in low-level keys, honestly, guys, send cooldown as often as you can. Don't even hold them for bosses. Even on Tyrannical. Right, how do you do your rotation here? So you got Tiger Fury roll in, you got Blood Talons, you got Incarn, you got Adaptive, you got all this stuff roll in. Cool. So you're going to go in. Again, this is where you got to greed. Like, I'm going to be nitpicky here because I want you to be the best that you can be. Your tank is there. Why are you here? You know? You might have Tiger Dash. Actually, you're a Wild Charger. But, like, why are you here if your tank's there? You're just losing all this damage on this boss right now. So you lose like 4 seconds of boss damage, which, you know, Feral struggling a single target, it helps, right? If you can eke that out. So you rake, rip, cool. Did I say rake, rick? Rake, rip is what you do. I think that's fine combo point wise. Right, so you rake, yeah, you're at 5 combo points, you rip, you still got Tiger's Fury active, cool. You have Incarn available, you adapt, okay, so you Incarn and then you adaptive. If you're gonna adaptive, then adaptive first and then Incarn, because now you've wasted 1 global of Incarn that could have been on an ability. You Survival Instincts, absolutely no reason to do that. Have you, like, macroed that into something or something? Yeah, you Survival Instincts here. I don't know, maybe that's a fat finger or something. Then you're shredding. Cool, that's fine. Fat finger? That's fine. You don't need it on this boss anyway. So, I'll watch a little bit of this and then I'll kind of comment. So you buy in here, that's cool. Your rate can be refreshed there. Yep, that's fine. During your Incarn window, you don't have to be as concerned about your pandemic windows when it comes to rake. You can, as long as your rake is beneath the 50% mark, then you can refresh it, not the 30%. So, just heads up when it comes to Blood Talents Generation. That's as far as I know anyway. That was Shadowlands data. Maybe that's different now, but that's Shadowlands data in my head. Cool. That's nice. I mean, you can still attack there. That's cool. You don't leave cap form. You're brave. I like it. Rake up time. Let's see it. Okay, rake drops up just barely, but that's fine. Maybe just look to refresh it a little bit better. Blood Talons Generation looks alright. Reapply Rip here with Blood Talons. Yep, cool. So I'm getting used to your UI as well. Yeah, I think I'm like generally happy. Like your bleed up time is decent. Your like is good. You're weaving in Ferocious Bites. You res, that's nice. That's kind of you. You still have Tiger Fury going. You get the rip up. with the Blood Talons? That's all good. Oh, okay, tank actually dies here. Okay, see, so this is something... I mean, could you have done anything here to help the group? I doubt it on this boss. Let me take a look. Where does the guy die? Okay. So he just died to the beam. No, what does he die to? Arcane Lockdown? And then he stands in it? Okay. So he dies to that. You res him. Nice, good awareness. Tank then dies though, but why? Does he stand in this? Oh, did he get hit by storming? Oh, cause thundering. Yeah. It wasn't cleared. And why wasn't he cleared? So you cleared yours. In my head, you're free here. You haven't done anything wrong. So one of these guys, they go to clear on each other, but they've got the wrong stacks. Okay, so that's just a dungeon diff. That's just a dungeon diff. Okay, cool. We don't need to watch this fight again. But that seemed pretty good. I feel like maybe you're not brutal slashing enough in single target. Like, brutal slash is better than shred as far as I'm concerned. Better energy efficiency, better damage per combo point. Or per energy, sorry. The only good thing is that your shred has a 50% crit chance. Well, if you're at 40% crit and you have 4 set, your shred has a 50% crit chance on single targets. That's good. Cool. Is there anything that we can still gain from this key that we haven't looked at, chat? Anything that you're thinking about? What I would say, Lopsided, I think your biggest things that you can do is your post-combat, or like your pre-combat setup, or end-of-combat setup, your positioning, and your CD usage. When is your previous last Incarn? So, you have Incarn up here. Yeah, don't use it there. Obviously, that's good. So you have Incarn up for this pack, but you don't send it, which is against... the thing about this dungeon is, on this key level, is that Incarn sucks. Like, I would not play Incarn here. You need mobs to live for 30, 40 seconds for it to be worth. I would either play Convoke or just don't even bother. Just go double CI, Feral Frenzy, and like just forget Incarn. But like you could have used Incarn here, so 12:56, and then you don't use it until... Yeah, you use it like 30 seconds later. But do you notice how like these 30-second delays add up? These 30 seconds, 1 minute delays on your cooldowns, they add up and they add up. So far in this dungeon, we're 30 minutes in, and you could have easily gone 3 additional Incarns. The thing about pugging is that if you do not impress your team, then you do not get taken to the next dungeon. So far, you've been impressive with your utility. I've been impressed with that, been happy with that. Defensive use, apart from a little fat finger, has been good. And you didn't like wipe on the first boss. Like you did well, you cleared, you did all that kind of stuff. You battle rezzed, you avoided the shit on the ground. So your awareness is good. Like I'm happy with all of that. I just think you need to just greed a bit more. Hey everyone, so on Friday's stream, I did some viewer coaching from their submitted videos of Feral Druid from Mythic Plus, and they sent in their videos to me, and then I reviewed them on stream, said what they did well, what they could have improved on, and just spoke about a bunch of things Feral related. So you might learn something from this video, maybe it might be helpful. And then also, if you want to submit your own video, make sure you join my Discord down below in the description, and you can ask any questions there about how to get involved with that, or come check me out on the stream for more details. Again, the link is in the description down below. Thanks, and see you again.